Yeah, the first thing I want to do is show this. Um, this is some of the trichomes. Remember I said I have some trees across the way and it was possible there's something polleny and I wasn't seeing a cell structure that was going to be could the same as like a hydra would be. If I go to some of these files and pull up some of these pictures, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm very relieved about that. This is just some of the stuff I was picking up in today of organic matter I'm expecting to see in it. So that was a big relief. I'm trying to get a picture so I can show you. I got a lot of screenshots here of various weather things. One of my biggest concern is this bill. Hey, so I'll go with that now. I didn't intend that to go up. I wanted to say that. Right. I want to talk about this geoengineering bill for weather modification. It has actually gone through all its readings and amendments and all that, and it looks like it has been ordered and rolled. I don't know 100% what that means, but let's look at some of what it says. So I clicked on this PDF down here, and it even has a web page as you can look at, and it shows all the information like that, which I'll get to you here. And let's have a look at this, because really it's about governing it. I don't see where it's made it illegal, which is bothering me, because that's just my dream, is to see something. And so let's look at this actual thing. It's only 11 pages long. We could do this. And whether you can see this or not, I'm not sure. I could bring this up a little bit higher, wise, but this the font that they chose to give us. And I could read it out loud, but you know how to read, don't you? It's just a bunch of blah blahs and blah blah repealing weather modification activities from the past, which is showing geoengineering has been litigated in this state before. Amending certain weather modification laws, this is a real thing. In requiring a specified money be deposited in a trust fund. You see, this is boiling down to something, an air pollution trust fund. So there is going to be a fund to be administered following the money and used only for specified purposes. And authorizing a person who observes geoengineering, oh please, can I have this job? Or weather modification to report such activity. And it's going to say what kind of data do they want. Okay, requiring the Department of the EPA, which I'll say instead of Environmental Protection Department there. It saves a little time. And a method for intake and screening of such reports, requiring the department to investigate certain reports, not everything. Requiring the department to refer reports observed violations to the department. It also seems to be talking about or saying litigating of the fact that you have to have a permit to do certain things. I'll just let you read that part. This is all blah blahs and blah blahs. Monthly reports, prohibiting the department from expanding funds. So if anything's been channeled through the Department of Transportation, it doesn't seem to no longer happen, right? Just reading this is what it says. Now, the enacted legislation of the state of Florida is as follows. It gives amendments to things of geoengineering activities prohibited. And it'll say which one. Injection, release, or dispersion of by any means of, I'm over here, right? This is where I'm at. And they did some crushing out. If it's crushed out, it's a word that's been amended. Okay, so it says words are deletions, words underline are additions. You see this? So if you see it crushed through it, and this is the final. And so when they print it up, it's going to not have the line through it once. So I'm going to read it again. Geoengineering and weather modification activities prohibited. Penalty / the injection, release, or dispersion by any means of a chemical compound, a substance, or an apparatus into the atmosphere within the borders of this state for the express purposes of affecting the temperature, weather, climate, or intensity of sunlight is prohibited. That's a big sentence there. That means if I go over here, I should have maybe had this load ahead of time, and I go to NASA Worldview after the fart. I see any chemtrails today that should over the Florida itself. Well, what about international waters over the Gulf of Water off their coast? Renamed the Gulf of America. I don't know how that's going to work. Because I can go to yesterday when this bill had been passed and zoom in to Florida, and I beg to say, it looks like there's been a dispersion of something here all over the state of Florida, which I would say is a chemical catalyst in the sky. Where's that sprayed here, blowing over here, gonna matter? But there's evidence of geoengineering right here already violating this thing. Yep. And so here's evidence. Can I have the job monitoring? Oh, it would be my absolute pleasure to watch out for our mother. Are you kidding? Today's data won't be in yet. It has kind of stopped off the coast, but if we look out here in the Atlantic over the Gulf Stream waters, we see the same skyria going on. So it's not like it has stopped, but it's just nice to read. But so I will go on now. Where I was at the climate to affect the changes. So they're prohibiting chemical compounds, a substance or apparatus into the atmosphere, like those balloon platforms, the electrospin web things. We see the cobwebs that seem to be causing illnesses when they arrive, like the ones you saw in New Zealand recently. These things should be illegal, okay? So now it says here in part two, this is also illegal, from going up here and reading this correctly. Penalties are involved in this. But, corporate penalties and justice in a courtroom are two different things, I seem to think. Any person, including any public or private corporation, who conducts a geoengineering or weather modification activity in violation of this section, and all this has been omitted. That would have been nice. So we won't look at that part. We'll go, hey, and by a fine not exceeding $100,000. So if you're going to make millions of dollars off the orange crop, you could destroy it for 100 grand. Okay, so there is a penalty. I'm just looking at what they can get away with. If a corporation, the officers, directors, or employees of a felony of the third degree, ooh, this is big, punishable by a fine not exceeding $100,000, and if an aircraft operator or controller, such person commits a felony of the third degree, is punishable by a fine not exceeding $5,000 and up to 5 years in jail. And I see most of the dispersions are done with these chem bomb balloons, and the plane going underneath, it's just condensating the particles that are already up there. Is what I've been seeing, but it doesn't seem like an awful, $5,000. And how many people got sick? I don't know. That don't seem sufficient. All monies collected pursuant to this section must be deposited in the Air Pollution Control Trust Fund. So that will be used for the purposes of air pollution control pursuant to this chapter. Any person who observes geoengineering or weather modification conducted in violation of this section may report the observed violation. Oh yes, let's go to the department online or by telephone or email. Give us the hotline. Yes, okay, that'll be nice. Yeah, we can report this to death. Let's see if we get any justice from this. No justice, no peace of taxes. No justice, no taxes paid. I'll try that one to see if it gets your way. A department shall establish an email address. Oh, that don't take long. So you going to read that part? Okay, they get them an email address, a method for intake screening of the reports. Yeah, so that's a department. They shall investigate any report that warrants further review. How about I just showed you? Right after this passed, they bombed your asses. The department shall refer reports and observe violations made pursuant to this subsection to the Department of Health or Division of Emergency Management. Oh, so we don't have FEMA anymore. He changed the name. If appropriate. if appropriate. Which is going to be like Project Blue Book. A department shall adopt any rules that are necessary to implement this subsection. Reporting on geoengineering web modification activities on public infrastructure. Penalty. As using say, aircraft means a powered or unpowered machine device capable of atmospheric flight except a parachute or other such device used primarily as safety equipment. Okay. So that guy with the two flares in his hand coming down at the state fair is still okay. Department means the Department of Transportation. Oh, you put it on. But when it gets above a certain level of the atmosphere, this is confusing me. Let's just read it. Public infrastructure means public use airport as that term as defined in a certain section. Well, not private airport. All operators of public infrastructure shall report monthly to the department. And again, that bottom just shows you if it's crossed out, it was deleted. If it's underlined, it's been additioned. Physical presence of any aircraft on public property, including any public infrastructure equipped with any part, component, device, like which may be used to support the goods. So these are your cloud-seeded planes with the flares and stuff on them, which may be used to support the intentional emission, injection, release, or dispersion of air contaminants. Pollution into the atmosphere within the borders of the state. When such emissions occur for the express purpose of affecting temperature, weather, climate, or sunlight. What if they give another purpose? What if they say they're studying something? This is a gray area. That's very gray area, that one. The landing, takeover, stop-off, or refueling of an aircraft equipped with components outlined in this paragraph on the physical location of the infrastructure. So that'll be illegal too. So ain't nothing land and fill her up, send her up without them paying her $5,000 for poison and the rest. They make a lot more than that in Kleenex for the sniffles and with a caravan, but that's just my opinion. The department may not expend any state funds as described in blah blah section of smoke up your ass admiralty lot to support a project or program located, so they can't spend any state money studying this shit. Well, it's all been Couch Group and Harvard. I don't trust that university. Upon receipt of the reports required, okay, so once there are reports, the department shall submit aggregated reports to the Environmental Protection, applicable state laws, enforcement agencies. The department shall incorporate reporting guidelines in all agreements for the public use. Airports which receive the reports. Okay, so this means we get to see it. They may adopt rules. Department of Environmental Protection, Water Management Districts, Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commissioners, the Department of Agriculture, Consumer Services duties with respect to the states and land. And the Department of Environmental Protection shall perform all staff duties, functions related to the acquisition, administration, disposition of state lands, title to which will be vested in the blah blahs, water management blah blahs, and the blah 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 blahs. It's nothing to do with the geo. I'm scared. Double speak. Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission shall take final agency action with any action on behalf of the boards. So they get the final say. Fish and Wildlife. See the chemistry reflected in the river that ran through it. The river of lies runs through it. I have a dream, man, and this is part of it, is to see it banned somewhere. So here we go. I don't stand in the way of my own wanting. Yay. This isn't hopium, this is here. But when I look over here, and I see that today, and I see this the day the bill passed, over Florida, that's North Carolina there. You told me where that hasn't been violated yet. I want to know who did that. Let's see the report. Who had the permit? What's up with that? I want to see the permits. And that's another thing for digging. And we're up to page 8. We've almost made it through it. Right? Subsections. Florida Management District. It's just giving the duties for each department, what department. Because the Kissimmee River Restoration Project means the project can say there's lots of little things here, their water management things that they mentioned that I think the meat and potatoes has been read. It seems like these projects seem quite interesting to look into, but I don't think it's not the geoengineering part. So I think we've done the meat and potatoes. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, the use of state funds is, for the reservoir projects and stuff, they're still allowed. Everglades, this shall take effect. Okay, so this act won't take effect till the 1st of July. So me seeing those chemtrails is not a reportable offense. So that's what it is, folks. And here's a link to the PDF. I felt this was important to go over. And to stay factual is important. That's the PDF. And I gave you the online link. All this came from the Florida State Senate. So you can consider this a non-mainstream media news source, because I like to go to the records of the states and stuff that do things. You know, like if I want to know what's going on in the White House, you just go over here, hit the W, I get presidential actions, and I can see everything. You know, tell me something happened, and I can look right up to the 1st of May. Loyalty Day, it's a scary one. Read it anyhow. Yeah, lots of any little thing that happens. Biased media. If they don't like him, he's going after him. Go read it. Any articles that he has, official releases, this is how he'll dispel your rumors. Okay? Briefings and statements, all this is here. Astronaut that don't tell no lies. Thou shalt not lie. Yeah, let's see what this is. Hello, Neil and Buzz. This is Dante. I'm calling to you from the Oval Room, Clutch Shot Central. Oh, this is for John Glenn, isn't it? Freedom 7. Tribute to Project Mercury astronauts. We celebrate National Astronaut Day. Well, there you go, Katy Perry. You're an astronaut. Fucking hell. Anyways, that's what it's all about. Facts, stay factual. Big love. I hope you found that informative. Peace.